Hey guys, this is Brett from Prepared Man. Haven't got to talk to you for a while, but I got a new package in the mail today from LT Wright Knives. And I thought we'd open it up here for you on camera. Take a look at the product inside. This is the new Scandinavian Grind Go No Show GNS from LT Wright. Now, I've owned the Saber grind before. I have to say, out of all the grinds that Blind Horse Knives did when they were in production, the Saber grind was my least favorite. I actually genuinely despise Saber grind knives. I know a lot of people that don't feel that way. It's a good, solid, robust edge, but the Saber grind on the Blind Horse knives, in my personal opinion, were just not done very well. I think every last one of them need to throw it on a system like a Lansky system, put much steeper or much more shallower on the spine of the blade, and just evened out. Every one I ever had was just poorly executed. So this is a LT Wright Scandi GNS. Scandinavian grind's one of my favorite grinds. So let's open up this package, take a look. Now I haven't got a chance to get this knife in hand yet. As you can see, it's still in the mailer. The only thing I've done is flip it over so you're not seeing everybody's addresses, so people aren't getting undue fan mail. I'm gonna open it up here with my little everyday carry. I'll just open up the mailer. Tell you something else interesting is I'm a trader by hobby. I trade a lot, and I've traded a lot for high-end knives. And this is one of the first knives I've actually received direct from manufacturer new. I've received a lot of new inbox in trade. This knife is new. So let's open it up. It's in the telltale LT Wright box. Got the sticker on it, LT Wright. Inside the nice piece of paper, it says, "Hello, thank you for ordering LT Wright handcrafted knives. We work hard each day to ensure you receive the best product with excellent customer service." Might I say, the lady that I talked to on the phone was incredibly nice. She was so nice, and she had to deal with me on multiple occasions, so I really have to say she was incredibly nice. Keep a coat of oil on your knife, basic maintenance. God bless LT Wright. That's nice to see this day and age. Let's open this bad boy up and take a look. Now, another thing some of you all know, especially if you've ever traded with me, is I'm a southpaw. They were more than accommodating and provided me with a nice left-handed sheath. LT Wright, being different than Blind Horse knives, doesn't carry those base model sheaths. This is not the big large sheath that the GNS shipped in when it was a Blind Horse knives product. This is a nice high-end sheath. I liken this to the Canteen Shop Woodcrafter sheath. These are really nice sheaths. If you haven't ordered from LT Wright before, this is the style sheath that you'll get. This one's left-handed, dangler with a ferro rod loop. Mine's going to get a ceramic rod in it. Let's see the knife itself. Oh, she's still wrapped up in a cocoon here. This oil impregnated paper, which is good when the 01 tool steel. Oh boy. Nice handle, bead blasted micarta. Nice 3 bolsters, or 3 pins if you will. Nice lanyard. Good feel. GNS has an excellent handle. Let's take a look at the blade. Check it out, boys. Very woodlore-esque, if you will. Go no show, Scandinavian grind. I can already tell you this thing is razor sharp right out of the box. Nice logo there, the Pout House. Go no show logo. This is a nice blade. Let's see how she fits in the sheath before we start doing some work with it. Nice brand new sheath's gonna have to be conditioned. Fits deep in the sheath just like the old one did in the Blind Horse sheath. Very nice full grain leather. I do like that little line. I haven't noticed any of those little textured lines before on other sheaths. I'm gonna treat this thing with beeswax and get it nice and slick and pretty. So there she is, boys, the GNS Scandi LT Wright. I think they retail like $170 or something like that. I told a little bit of a fib. I traded for the funds to get this knife, and then part of the funds itself was a birthday present from my mother and father. So this knife didn't actually cost me anything, but it's an awesome knife. Let's back up. We're going to do a little work with it. I've got some pieces of maple limbs and things that's laying around. I'm going to do some feather and do some notching, and I'll tell you my initial impressions. Stick with me. I've kind of got you over my shoulder here so you can see what it's going to be like using the knife. Let's get him back out of the sheath. Boy, that sheath tight. Very nice feel in the hand. It's got a nice heft. The knife is not heavy itself, but it does feel solid. I love that bee blasted micarta. I've also owned the Genesis. I've handled multiple Genesis, including the desert ironwood or whatever that was. This knife makes the Genesis look like a little girl. So let's take a look at this knife here, guys. I'm just going to grab one of these maple saplings that I use quite a bit off the sugar maple. First we're going to feather. Outstanding. Nice, smooth. Scandinavian grind really gives you control for using the feather stick. When I want to make this feather stick, this knife really has a lot of control. Love the Scandi grind. It immediately bites. Got one good feather stick right there for starting the fire. Try to do some controlled thumb pushes into the wood. We'll come back and check back and make our notch. Perfect. Nice. Nice and clean. No fuss, no muss. Scandi grind succeeds the end of the feather stick here. Very nice. Now this knife is thick because it is the LT Wright style knives, the blind horse style knives, and they are thick. They're thick knives. But that Scandinavian grind makes that edge pretty narrow. This is also a pretty steep Scandinavian grind, so it does go pretty far up into the body of the blade, which makes the blade a little thinner at the edge. Really nice control and bite. It's great. Great for cutting. This knife will never baton just because I just don't think that's something that a knife should do. It's not a knife task, batoning really. It's just something you do to show off a knife. Go right around and make this controlled wrap. So if I was going to control a piece of cordage, that's one thing you're going to have to watch. If you break that, this thing's got no problem going in skin either. Just because it's Scandinavian grind doesn't mean it's not going to cut you as well as wood. Cut into this piece. Do a push cut just to cut through. Nice and quick. Get them sharp. Another real quick tip that I'm going to show you using a knife. I'm going to push this knife into my knee just like that and pull my wood that I'm working with. Gives me a lot more control. Let me just trace a line here real quick. Cut up to the line just for a decorative carving. Trick to this is just having a really good edge. A good uniform edge really helps with any precision carving. Not necessarily a flat edge because this knife does sweep quite a bit, but just a good uniform edge all the way across. This knife's great. The control on this knife's great. I mean, I just got out of the box. I haven't handled a GNS since back in cold weather when I owned my original blind horse. I think Rod Ritter rounded up with that knife. I enjoyed the knife. I just didn't think that the execution of the saber grind was very good. This, of course, this Scandi is perfect. It does have a micro bevel. I don't know if you know that. This is really a Scandi Vex. It has a micro bevel when they hit it on the buffer, but it's to the point that you would really have to be looking for it to notice it at all. Go ahead and cut this spiral in. It's a nice decorative spiral. This would also control a piece of cordage or control movement if you're making a trap or something like that. Let's plane a nice flat spot here and we'll drill a hole in this stick as well. One side of our flat spot, we'll turn it around. I might do this to make a toggle or a button. Word of the wise, if you ever make a toggle or a button, leave it on the stick till you get the hole in it. Get a lot easier. Get this side planed flat. That's no problem for Scandi. Nice long point on the GNS gives you a lot of control or a lot of penetration to make holes for like toggles or buttons or anything like that. That should be pretty much all the way through. Let's take a look. Yep, that's all the way through. Brand new knife, Scandinavian grind. Made a button in just a moment. It's a great blade. I think it's going to see a lot of use. This is basically a Woodlore clone, so stick with me, guys. I'll wrap it up for you. The Scandinavian grind Go No Show GNS from LT Wright. It's an excellent knife. 01 tool steel is hard to beat for me anyway. It's probably one of my favorite high carbon steels. 1095 is right up there as well. This is a great knife. Now if I'm buying a knife to use in a bushcraft, in the outdoors, in the woods, and actually beat on and abuse, it's probably going to be a Mora or something that's budget minded. But for a great knife, a long-term knife, a knife that you might pass down to your kids or use your entire life if properly maintained, you really can't beat this style of knife. LT Wright makes a great blade. I've owned several blind horse knives that probably passed right through his shop. This knife is no different than those. It's very, very reminiscent of a woods lore type knife. It's a little big, yeah, but it's a great blade. It's a great blade. I highly recommend it. They're about $165 shipped. This one's from the second production run. I know that their first production sold out just very, very, very quick. When you call, you'll get a nice lady on the phone. Usually, she helped me immensely. I called multiple times and talked to her. She communicated back and forth with me. They accept PayPal. I can't say enough about this company. And of course, they're an American company. So, it's a great place to do business. I'm Brett from Prepared Man. Stay with me.